So, what's happening, my friends? It is Tuesday. If only it was Friday, because Friday is going to be fun. Got Dropkick Murphys in town. It's going to be a good time. And next week, got Weird Al in town. The week after, 311 in town. Show. All right. Yeah, we're entering into a good time of year if you're into live music. Might as well take a look. Maybe I can plan ahead a little bit here. I know I was talking to Ben from the Advocates Injury Attorneys. He was wanting to go see some kind of show, and I hadn't really taken a look at what's coming up. I know there are a number I'm going to have to miss because me and my wonderful lady going to be going to help my daughter move in Washington. So, have to miss 9 Inch Nails. Ah! But I'm hoping we can go to Phoenix and see it. You know? And had I planned the trip better, could have probably even went and seen him in Seattle. But what do you do? What do you do, right? You just keep mowing ahead. It's just a show. All right? Like I said, plenty of good ones coming up. Planning on going to Dropkick Murphys on Friday. So if you're going to go to that show, track me down, say hello. Would be great to see you. Some of the others coming up you might be interested in. Shinedown, going to be at the Maverick Center on the 11th. If you're into Pink Floyd, man, the Australian Pink Floyd show is going to be in Sandy, Utah. And I've seen the Australian Pink Floyd show before. They're really good. So if you're into Pink Floyd, you'd probably dig that. 9 Inch Nails, going to be at the Maverick Center in Salt Lake on the 14th. We Came as Romans coming up. Our Last Night. Simple Plan. Like I mentioned, 311 is going to be in Pokey on the 16th. Ice Nine Kills is going to be in Boise on the 17th. They always crush it. And then some of the others coming up, you got Pantera, Blues Traveler, Youngblood, Cypress Hill, man. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not seeing any that scream at me like, all right, Ben, let's go. Maybe Pantera, but I think that's on a weekday. Got to find a weekend show. Even though I'm sure Pantera would be lots of fun. It is, Wednesday. I don't know. I think I need a Friday night or Saturday night kind of show here. Lots of classic rock stuff coming up. Chicago, Toto. Billy Idol, going to be at USANA on September 5th. What day of the week's that? Ooh, that's a Friday night. I think I know somebody who'd like to go to that show. The Offspring, Everclear. Vola! I'd love to go see Vola. Vola's great. I'm going to play Vola after the break. I don't know if that's Ben from the Advocates kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure this out. Well, I guess we are planning on doing Chevelle. Yeah. Got Chevelle coming to the Mountain America Center September 30th. And then I think Ben wanted to bomb up to Boise and check the show out again. Then we got Mudvayne. Oh, and then Sleep Token. Okay, I don't need to plan anything with Ben. End of September, it's on. It's on. It's going to be crazy. So, anyway, that's my warm-up break for the day. I think I'm going to pop some ibuprofen. Get myself a nice, well, I was going to say cold beverage, but I left them sitting out. Nice warm beverage. Nice warm Gatorade. Yeah, we're partying hard this morning. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'll find some fun stuff to talk about with you. And we'll be back in just a minute with, I'm going to play some Vola. Vola's great. All right, almost 7 o'clock already. Good. Yesterday took forever to get done. It was like the longest work day ever. Really hoping today is the opposite. Let's see, what do we got in the news here? Joe Rogan's friends followed him to Texas. They all seem to hate it. Well, did they visit before they moved? Did they watch any of the news? You know, like, Phyllis, who used to work here, she's from Texas, and she just called Idaho cold Texas, okay? One thing we got going on here is we got a pretty good power grid, you know? We don't tend to have, massive power outages the last days. We don't tend to have a lot of crazy flooding. And it gets hot here during the summer, but not Texas hot. I don't know. It is kind of weird if you think back to 2020. Remember the pandemic? Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? Remember that? The shutdown? Wearing those masks all over the place? I still don't know why people got so crazy about the mask thing, but that's just me. I don't want to make anybody mad today. Like I've said before, I used to just irritate people because people got so crazy about the masks that I would drive around in my jacked up truck by myself wearing a mask just to annoy people, just because it made me laugh. I don't know. I'm a weirdo like that. And people would get mad. You'd look over at another guy in a big truck and he's just looking at me like, what are you doing? And it was just for a goof, just to be an irritant. So anyway, Joe Rogan convinced a whole bunch of his comedian friends to move to Austin, Texas, which I hear, as far as Texas goes, is a pretty cool city. I've never been there. Only time I've been to Texas is the Dallas airport, and the Dallas airport sucks, all right? There are a few airports that I can't stand. Dallas is toward the top of the list. It just sucks. It's huge. It's hot. Ugh. Anyway, I don't know what these guys were thinking, being that they work in the entertainment business. Okay, you can't magically turn Austin, Texas into Los Angeles. So, I would assume that a lot of them are probably missing out on a lot of opportunities by just being basically in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. I haven't read through this article. Have a lot of them moved back? Is that what's going on? Well, yeah. People are just starting to trash it, I guess. Okay. Comedian Tim Dillon saying Austin's a soulless city that should be burned to the ground. Yeah. Oh, he bailed back to L.A. like within a year. Okay. Yeah, if you make a lot of money, if you're making that Joe Rogan money, I bet Austin's pretty good. But I don't know. I've never been to Austin, but I've been to L.A. And though L.A. is kind of a nightmare of millions of people, the traffic's terrible. I like L.A. I've had some good times there. It ain't too shabby. I enjoy it. Oh, okay, yeah. Shane Gillis saying Texas blank blows after he was left in a storm that left his house without power for 3 days, and it was 90 degrees and the bugs came in. I don't know. Just from talking to some people who've lived in Texas, it doesn't sound like my kind of place. All right, well, anyway, if you want to read this whole article, it's at cron.com. Huh. Anyway, yeah, it's just kind of funny. I remember when it was like, LA sucks, Texas the place to be, and I thought that was kind of weird at the time. So, I'll find better content, promise, okay? I'll open more tabs. I'm trying to catch up all of the pending posts in the K-Bear group. There's tons of them. So sorry if your post hasn't been approved in I don't know how long. Peaches won't watch videos and approve them. Even though he just lives on his phone. I hope you're listening, Peaches. Yeah, it's not a text post, I guess. Can't take the time to watch it and make sure it doesn't have naughty language. So that's what I'll be working on this morning. All right, anyway, I'll be right back. So I've done a lot of embarrassing things recently, and I'm happy to throw myself under the bus for the enjoyment of you listeners. I just, why not? I'm here to entertain. And if me being stupid and embarrassing gives you a laugh, well, I'm a clown. I told you yesterday about breaking my dishwasher. It was embarrassing. Tripping over your own dishwasher and just breaking it. Stupid. Another thing I did recently that was embarrassing to me personally was when I went to the movies by myself. It was the first time I'd ever gone to the movie theater by myself. And I really wanted to see this movie, Eddington, the new Ari Aster movie. So I was like, all right, I got a ticket. I'm going to go. And I go, and I'm kicked back, enjoying the movie. Get about 30, 45 minutes in. and suddenly wake up at least an hour later. And nobody in the theater looked at me and said anything, but I know I'm a chainsaw snoring machine. Now, perhaps if I was sitting straight up, it wouldn't be bad. If I'm on my side, it's usually not too bad. But still, if you're me and you're asleep in public for an hour, I assume there had to be some, sleep apnea problems going on. Well, last night, I had a dream and I wish I could remember the other dreams I had last night. I had some crazy dreams last night. And I woke up in the middle of the night and was like, don't forget those. They're gone. But one part I do remember is that I was at my house and I decided I'm going to illegally download Eddington on my computer and watch it. This was just a dream, okay? I didn't do this. But I downloaded it, and it was like the old LimeWire days or something. Because I start watching this movie, and I'm like, this isn't Eddington. What is this crap? And it was some kind of I don't know, it was some kind of a love story or something with fish people. And then, after the intro, suddenly it was Eddington. And I'm like, I don't remember this intro to the movie. What's up with these fish people? This is just how my brain works, okay? I don't know. Weird stuff happens sometimes when I'm sleeping. So I'm going to do my best to try to really start keeping track of my dreams, because sometimes they're so bizarre, I think they would end up being pretty entertaining. And I'm happy to share them with you when, I don't know, they seem like a reasonable break for the radio show. But anyway, I really want to see that Eddington movie, but I'm not going to go buy a ticket after I already wasted one. I have to wait till it's available on demand, and I can be in my living room and fall asleep watching it in my recliner like I do watching everything else sitting in my recliner in my living room. Yeah, nap time. I don't know, maybe I need to open up the curtains in my living room. It's just so dark in there all the time. Perfect place to take a nice nap. All right. It's a little after 7 o'clock, people. We got tickets to give away to 311. So I'm going to try to give away some of those before the end of the morning show. Stay tuned. Maybe you'll get lucky and win some tickets to see 311. All right, back in a minute. By the way, I don't mean I'm pre-recording the show. Just trying to record the on-demand version of the program so I can upload it. I've been doing a very bad job at that recently. Not because I don't have the ability, but because I feel like my show has sucked lately, and I'm trying to get it under control. All right? Need to get more rest. Need to keep it together. Because you listeners deserve a top-notch program. And I hate it when I feel like I'm failing to do a top-notch program. So, we're going to kick some butt this week on the radio, all right? Or at least I'll try, all right? I'll try harder. I'll do better. All right. Let's see, we got a post here online. What's something you don't miss from the 80s or 90s? Now, some of you may not have been around in the 80s or 90s. But I was. I remember the 80s. And well, okay, I remember the 90s. 80s, not so much. You know, maybe a little bit of the 80s, the late 80s. But I always like making myself feel really old. Somebody a minute ago on Facebook posted something to the effect of, like, I love it when old people call other people old people. And I was like, wait a minute, are you talking about me? Because I do talk about old people, but I am old. Anyway, like making myself feel a little bit old sometime. So let's take a look at things from the 80s and 90s that sucked. Because a lot of people like to look back. They look back on the old days and they're like, man, things were so much better back then. Now, the world's always going to have problems, okay? It's always going to have problems. But there's also a lot of great in the world today, all right? Let's see what sucked in the 80s and 90s. Long-distance phone bill. Yeah, that was a thing. Phones in general. Okay, I will say that I don't miss being able to leave my house and being off the grid immediately. Sometimes that was very satisfying, but I've gotten so used to having my phone with me that if I'm going somewhere, I'm just sure something terrible is going to happen if I don't have my phone. And then I'm not going to be able to reach anybody. I'm going to be stranded in the woods or something with no way to call for help. So, I don't know, it goes both ways. But long distance phone bill, that was just annoying. Back when I first got a cell phone, like you had to pay for every text message. You had to count the minutes on your phone. Like, did they even tout unlimited phone call plans anymore? Can you actually get a phone that, you only get a certain number of minutes? Maybe a burner phone, like Better Call Saul, those phones Saul was slinging. Okay, yeah, I mean, long distance phone bill was so long ago. I think maybe when I first got a landline on my own, I did have a long distance phone bill, but I didn't know anybody elsewhere. Okay, family members in Minnesota, but I'm terrible about calling my family members, so I'm sure I never used any of my long distance phone bill. Oh, let's see what else sucked about the 80s and 90s. Waiting for images to load on the internet. Yeah, dial-up internet sucked. I mean, simply look at what we've got going on right now, comparing TV service in general compared to the 80s and 90s. All right, it sucked. You kids might not have to remember scrolling through, what's on cable, and like before there was a on-screen guide, you had to sit there and watch the TV guide channel, okay? And it was this slow-moving thing. Okay, not everybody can read fast. I get it. But it seemed like it would move so slow just to see what's on, and you just got to watch whatever was on. I mean, we did have VHS tapes, but, you'd have to go rent them or buy them, things like that. There was no streaming. Streaming's great. Oh, I want to watch something. What do I want to watch? Anything in existence, and you just pull it up now. It's great. Let's see here. Third-degree burns from metallic seatbelt fasteners. I'm sure some of you still deal with that. Yeah, I remember my dad's truck had those metal seatbelts. Hot day. Oh! Ah! Sorry, Jade probably doesn't want me to talk about third-degree burns right now. Hopefully Jade will come in and chat on the show. We can both talk about our weekend of breaking things. Glad Jade's doing okay. But I got a new nickname for him when he comes in. We'll see when he gets here. Let's see here. Smoking or non-smoking and still being in the smoking section. Yeah, that's kind of funny. You go into a restaurant back in the day and they had a smoking section and it was just right next to you. It's like, no, the whole place is filled with smoke. What are you talking about? And as someone who doesn't mind smoke, it wasn't that big a deal to me, but I'm sure for people who hated smoking, that was annoying. Now everywhere, pretty much. It's weird when you walk into a place that's smoking now. Like Vegas, that's about it. It's about all that's left. Casinos. Let's see here. Hair ties with 2 giant plastic beads on them that every mom used to tie up their daughter's hair with. God forbid she lose her grip on one when she was already ripping your soul out through your scalp. Wouldn't they like snap and bam, you get hit with this hard plastic marble? I didn't have those in my hair, okay? But I do remember these things. I bet those are still around. Nostalgia's big. I mean, look at this Jinko pants. Kids are dressing just like I did in high school. Once again, making me feel fashionable. All right, not being able to use the internet if someone needed the phone. Yeah, that was kind of annoying. More people complaining about cigarette smoke everywhere. I don't think smoking's just in general is common. Everybody's vaping or using nicotine pouches. They've moved on. And what are cigarettes, like $10 a pack? Don't ever use nicotine, kids, okay? Just don't do it. It doesn't do much for you. And it's like the most addictive thing of all time. Like, I know so many people who struggle with nicotine. You know, you quit for a while, then you have a day where you're like, I'm frustrated. I'm going to, yeah. And then next thing you know, you're off the wagon. So annoying. Rush Limbaugh. There's, people just as bad nowadays. All right? There's always going to be some kind of Rush Limbaugh floating around. Batteries and flashlight bulbs. Holy crap, they were crap. I don't think that batteries have gotten that much better. And I had this cat toy that would just kind of spin around. It would have a little feather underneath this I'm sure you've seen these. It's round. It's made out of fabric, and the little feather thing will spin around the outside. Thing would eat batteries like nothing else. And do they make them rechargeable? No, it's 2025. Pretty much everything should be rechargeable now. Gym class. The kids still have to do that, don't they? PE is still a thing. I definitely hated gym class. I was never very athletic, so it's just embarrassing. Some kids are just built differently. All people are built differently. And if you weren't one of the jocks who just had it in you, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. I'm pretty sure that that's still a thing, though. They've got to still have gym class. Huh. Anyway, payphones. Payphones were handy because we didn't have cell phones. Terrible contact lenses. Well, luckily I didn't have to deal with that. Buying a CD and realizing all the songs suck. There wasn't no streaming music back in the day either. Bought a lot of garbage albums. Because it'd be like, oh, this cover looks cool. Hey, wait, this band sucks. All right, I better dig up some freak news. I'm going to get back to it. Again, putting in all my effort to not make my show suck this week. So I hope it's going a little bit better than it has been. My apologies. Oh yeah, I was going to take some ibuprofen. Achy from, I don't know, probably breaking my washing machine. A little bit sore. Okay, where to begin? I guess punching a cougar in the face. What else are you going to do if you get attacked by a mountain lion? You've got to fight back. You can't just lay there and give up, okay? If a mountain lion pounces on you, punch it in the face. You might be able to get away. Happened to a guy up in British Columbia, a little bit north of Vancouver. All right, headed to that region here in about a week. All right, I guess I better get these shoulders in good shape for fighting mountain lions. Yeah, can you imagine getting attacked by a mountain lion? It'd be terrifying. I mean, I've had it happen to me many, many times when I'm playing Red Dead Part 2. And, most of the time they kill you, but every once in a while, I don't know, I don't think you can win punching them in Red Dead, though. You got to use a firearm. Even Arthur Morgan can't take out a mountain lion with a punch, but this guy in British Columbia, he got it done. Yeah. Punched it and it took off. Guy suffered some non-life-threatening injuries and didn't even need to be hospitalized. Yeah, don't play dead, okay? They'll just rip you to pieces. They're giant cats, okay? It's crazy that there are giant cats running around. So bizarre. All right, if you're going to a baseball game, you need to behave yourself. I know you might get excited hanging out with your lady friend, but you're in an open-air stadium. People are going to see what you're doing, okay? I don't need to tell you exactly what happened with this couple, but I would imagine they're going to be charged with some kind of public indecency. And it was on TV. This is a Major League Baseball game, okay? I'm not going to give suggestions just go hide somewhere, but just sitting there in your seat, broad daylight, again, understand humans have a genetic predisposition for certain things, but, you got to do that in an appropriate place, okay? You don't want to go to jail. You don't want to end up in the news. You don't want my show talking about you all the way on the other side of the country. Be embarrassing. Also, don't get Botox in someone's shed. I don't know how many of these stories I've seen, but a woman has facial paralysis after getting some Botox in a backyard shed decked out to look like a med spa. Of course, it was Florida. So after the person was confronted about the victim's injuries, she did refund the $325. And then she injected her with more Botox. Somebody paralyzes your face in a shed. They give you a refund and they're like, well, let's reverse the effects. Let me go ahead and let's put some more Botox in your face. Yeah, how do you think that ended up? Not good. Made things a little bit worse. Jeez. Don't go to a backyard doctor, okay? I know that healthcare is really expensive. And Botox, depending on your situation, if it's just for cosmetic reasons, insurance is probably not going to cover it. But still, your face ain't going to look as good if it's all drooped down, like a melted face, Freddy Krueger style. Yeah. You'll be better with the wrinkles, all right? It's going to be okay. People age. Go to a professional, okay? Simple as that. All right, I'm going to save the rest of this stuff for later on the program because I've actually got a number of tabs open that might be worth talking about. Jeez, with some of the slow news days we've had recently, starting to lose hope for a bit there. Anyway, let's roll into this 8 o'clock hour and let's listen to some Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, I want to hear that one. There we go. We'll be right back. All right, you ready for a somewhat unpleasant story? Now, this is the type of thing that horrifies me. You want to talk about something that's going to freak me out? Here we go. Kentucky man suffers from PTSD after waking up during organ harvesting procedure. So this guy, they, I guess, thought he had passed away. He's at the hospital. So they just start harvesting his organs. But he wasn't dead. He wakes up. And he's like, hey, what's happening here? What's going on? And, well, obviously, he's going to have PTSD. Can you imagine? You wake up, and they're chopping your organs out of your body. It's like a horror movie. Anyway, I think he's okay. Because they said he has PTSD, so he's not okay because he has PTSD, but he's not dead. But I don't know, what did they try to take out of him? And I guess this happens more often than you might think. Yeah. Now, I think, being an organ donor is good. If you can help somebody out, sure, I'm gone, take my stuff. There you go. Plug it in. But I don't know, these doctors, you gotta really make sure somebody's dead before you just start hacking organs out of them. Anytime I've had surgery and I have to get put out, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna wake up during the surgery. They don't give you enough anesthesia. And so you're half there. You ever read those horror stories? Yeah, I was awake during the entire procedure when they hacked my leg off. Ugh! Can you imagine living in the 1800s? They just give you some shots of whiskey or something. Here, take a few swigs. You got a bullet wound in that arm. It's going to have to go. They just get the saw out. Yeah, watch some of those old Civil War movies. It's crazy. See again, people. I want to live back in the older times. Do ya? Do ya? No. Are you sure about that? Yeah, no. Oh. So anyway, if that hasn't happened to you recently, you're having a pretty good day today, trying to make you feel better about your morning. You didn't wake up to somebody harvesting your organs because they thought you were, dead. That's a pretty good start to a Tuesday. Tuesday can be a rough day of the week. Like Monday, you got the whole week ahead, but Tuesday you wake up and you're like, I've been at work already. Why is it only Tuesday? At least you've got all your organs, intact, hopefully. So we'll be back in a few with more. I'm not going to do any more organ harvesting stories, okay? At least I don't think so. I hadn't found any others yet. But I've got other stuff to talk about, like parasites and fun things like that. Parasites and bacterial waters. And, other fun stuff. Just keeping it light on the Viktor Wilt Show. We'll be right back. All right, what was I going to dive into here? Sorry, I was talking to Jade for a second, and then he bailed out of the room. So let's see. Let's wing it. Oh, hey, it looks like Idaho's not the only place dealing with problems with education budget cuts. Parents fear for kids' safety as New Jersey school axes buses for students who live within 2 miles. Okay, now you think about 2 miles, and it doesn't sound like that much. But when's the last time you took a 2-mile walk? And imagine you're a little kid, and it's winter time, and it's time to walk to school in the morning. How fast do kids walk? It's got to be 2 miles an hour, tops. An hour walk to school, all right? You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Well, what can we do to save money? I guess let's make these kids walk. That's wild. Okay, I'm trying to think. How far was it when I would walk from my house in Burley to the shop I ran in Burley? Let's see. Can I remember my address? All right. I'm just guessing here. Because there was a point when I didn't have a car, and so I would have to walk to work during the winter. Okay, they're saying about 45-minute walk. Okay, it was about 2 miles. And I'll tell you this, it sucked. It was awful. It was terrible, and I was an adult, okay? It was a long way. And yeah, I did put in the right address. That's amazing. I can't remember anything. Why did I remember that? Huh, interesting. Well, anyway. Oh, wait. No. I put in the wrong address here. Hold on. I didn't even have to walk that far. I didn't have to go 2 miles. I don't want to look at a map of Burley. What am I doing? Ugh, ew. Burley, ew. Okay. I would hope that they change their mind about this. Because, what if you've got to work in the morning and you rely on the school bus system to bring your kids to school? Could cut some politicians' salaries, huh? How about that? I could think of all kinds of things that could be cut aside from things that have to deal with education. But that's politicians. They want to keep people dumb, is what I think. That's why they always cut education. They want people to be stupid. And how long has it been this way? Because, as I've pointed out many times, the only qualification to be a politician is winning a popularity contest. I'm not saying they're all dumb. Some of them are. I'm not going to get into who. I pay attention to the local news. All right. Anyway, sorry I had to wing that one because I was, again, talking to Jade Davis. All right, we'll get into some stuff with, parasites and, let's see, maybe we'll talk about babies and vehicles being destroyed by angry people. We got plenty coming up on this program. Right now, I guess we'll do this new one from Hailstorm. Sure. wrapping up because my show has sucked. Yeah, sorry. I don't like to put embarrassing material out there. It's bad enough you have to listen to it when it's live. But I think today's been going pretty good. Pretty good. Just had a nice chat with Jade. Chat with him on air about our weekends some other time. He said he wasn't ready for that, but it'll be an event. Don't you worry. Going to be a big event when we talk about our weekends. All right, let's see what we got here. Don't drink booze and swim. Now, this is a story out of Japan, but they should probably put this warning out, everywhere. Like, if you get all drunk and go swimming, you might die. So, you might want to consider that. They're having to warn people that there's been an uptick in emergency transports from waterfronts because people are all wasted swimming. And, especially don't swim at night. Period. But when you're hammered, you'll be like, oh, I'm swimming to the surface. Yeah, and then you're dead. All right? The booze throws your brain off, okay? And then, don't forget to, depending on which body of water you're in, shower off when you get done, okay? We got all these people in France that are celebrating the return to being able to swim in the River Seine. And it's packed with fecal bacteria. It's so disgusting. But the government's like, yeah, we cleaned it up good enough. It's good enough. Yeah. Well, they opened it to the public. And then they're like, oh, they had to shut it down again because there's a bunch of bacteria in it. They did some testing. So then they're like, well, you guys can go swimming in there again. And then guess what? Yeah, they had to shut it down again because a lifeguard fished out what was later identified by police as an animal lung of an as yet unspecified species. So they just keep opening it and closing it again. And people keep swimming in it. I don't get it. I don't get it. This is like a filthy river. And they decided, well, for the Olympics, we got to do something cool. So they spent $1 billion to clean it up. And it's still disgusting. So just be aware, bacteria can be in many natural waters. And if you're going to go swimming, you got to shower off when you're done. All right. And if you have an open wound, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to get a flesh-eating bacteria. That'd be terrible. All right. Having to get skin grafts and things like that. I mean, I had a gum graft a while back. They took a little tiny piece of the top of my mouth, put it on, my bottom gum. And that sucked. I can't imagine a large chunk, got to cover up all right, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about organ harvesting, and now I've moved into skin grafting. It's just how this show goes sometimes, okay? I try to give out good, helpful health advice because that's my duty to the community, all right? But I'm also no doctor, but I will... Well, I didn't give doctor advice either. I'm not saying go get yourself a skin graft. Just saying, be careful, all right? There's a lot of dirty waters out there, and people have bad problems. Haven't read about any local issues recently. Let's search for Idaho water bacteria. Why talk about France when we can talk about local issues? All right, toxic algae invading parts of Idaho. Let's see, E. coli found at Roby Creek Park Beach area. Where's that? It says it's popular. Okay, unsafe bacteria found at popular mountain swimming spot near Boise. Listen, you want to get E. coli? What's wrong with my guts? And this is funny. They have a sign up. Water quality does not meet safe health standards. Guess how much? There's people swimming. They don't care. If you see a sign that's like, don't swim here, you probably shouldn't. All right. Now, I don't think E. coli will eat your flesh, but it's still going to make you pretty sick. All right. Still going to make you pretty sick. So, there's a ton of stories about E. coli in local waters. And these are recent stories from like within the last month. So just want to let you know, watch for signs. Ugh, okay, I'm going to close that. I mean, I don't really go in natural water, so I'm okay. All right, sorry, I'm not trying to ruin summer. I'll shut up. Yeah, sorry, JD. Sometimes I got to throw in a few songs for my lady, It's a good thing to do. Called me out for that the other morning. Like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? Nah, anyhow, I hope everyone out there can find someone who's just great. Like, I was having a very mentally challenging day yesterday. And when you got somebody who will just come take care of you, make you just feel better, tell you it's all going to be okay. It's a very good thing. I'm very lucky. So, anyhow, let's see. What else do I have in the old tabs here that are open? Okay, 32 that escalated quickly moments from history. Sure, things can escalate quickly. As soon as Jade feels comfortable talking on air, probably not going to be today. We'll talk about things escalating quickly. Poor guy, I feel so bad for Jade. Anyway, let's see what happened here. I should have read through this first because things escalating quickly, they can either go really good. I would say in my recent life, things escalated quickly, unexpectedly. But that was great. Other times, bad. Like Jade's story he'll have for everyone. Okay. The Fire of London. 1 second, it's just some idiot burning a batch of bread. Then the bakery's on fire. Then the entire street. Then the entire city. Fire can escalate quickly, everybody. Absolutely. Be careful with fire. Let's see here. This post kind of sucks, actually. This is why you should read through things and not just wing it. But I was listening to songs. Sometimes I'm just like you and I'm just jamming to the tunes. I know it's my job to find things to talk with you about. Holy cow. Yeah, this is getting dark. I'm reading through this, multitasking while yapping at you. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and skip out on that. Okay, this other story's a little bit more pleasant. There was this woman who, her aunt was murdered, okay? And so she, I guess, had a lot of problems with the local government. This was in South Africa. They knew who the guy was who murdered her, but just couldn't track him down. It's a very romantic story, everybody. Just hang on. So, after about 11 years of just not being able to find this person, this woman, what's her name here? Leanne, she decided she was going to take care of the problem by herself. So she tracked the guy down on Facebook and, I guess, seduced him on Facebook. And then agreed to meet up and thankfully brought the cops with her. Yeah, it took her like 6 years to track this guy down on social media. That's got to be awkward, Being like, you know what? I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to get him to fall in love with me. And then she did. Apparently, there's a new documentary that came out a couple days about this called The Facebook Honey Trap Catching a Killer. And, I mean, thankfully, all she had to do was track him down on Facebook. But, anyway, it could be an interesting documentary. I like a good true crime documentary. There's one about that Idaho guy. What's his name? That sleazebag creep who, killed those college students. I saw that pop up. For some reason, there are certain true crime documentaries that I just don't want to watch. Maybe it's like when they deal with young women my daughter's ages. I just scary. scary as a dad. You know, you worry about your kids. And, you know, there's a lot of terrible men out there. Terrible, abusive dirtbag men who can be real creeps. And thankfully, I think my daughter's found pretty good boyfriends. But as a dad, I still worry, you know, because you see these crazy stories pop up. Like there was a documentary about that girl, Gabby Petito. Couldn't watch it. No way. Ugh. Yeah, ladies, you know, if you're dealing with pieces of crap, get away from them, all right? I'm sure you got family and friends that'll help. You know, no reason to stay in a bad situation. You find yourself a dude who treats you great, because they are out there. And I hear plenty of dudes whining. I can't get a girl. Well, maybe you're being a jerk, huh? Maybe you're making life difficult for them. You know? Anyway, that break was a mess. I wasn't prepared. Sorry, I was listening to songs. Anyway, I'll find something better for the next one, okay? I promise. How often do I promise that and then not deliver? Pretty often. So don't have high hopes, but I'm going to try, okay? We'll be back. A great crushing band with some of the nerdiest lyrics in metal and one of the best bass players. Job for a Cowboy. Hey, what up, my people? I hope you're having a good Tuesday. Hope the week goes by quick and you got some fun weekend plans. Lots of good stuff coming up around here. Dropkick Murphys Friday night in Pokey at the Port of Hell Trust Amphitheater. It's gonna be fun. You ever been to a big punk show? Some of my favorite shows. Punk shows. And I'm not even like huge into punk music, but I always loved hanging out with the punk scene when I was in high school and post-high school. Because you go to a punk show, it's good vibes, good people, everyone just having fun. And Dropkick Murphys, if you missed them at the Mountain America Center, was it last year? Maybe the year before? I don't know. Time flies by so fast. It's hard to tell. But they crushed it and were so much fun. And they're bringing along Bad Religion, you know, legendary band. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So that's going down again at the Amphitheater in Pokey Friday night. Then next week, got Weird Al at the Mountain America Center. That's got to be sold out now, right? We gave away our tickets, and I would assume, because when I looked at this last week, there were like no tickets left. Let's see here. Oh, there's a small handful. I'd say, like, if you want to bring a friend with you and sit next to him, there's about 8 pairs left, and then just some single seats. So get your tickets to Weird Al. And we're giving away tickets to 311 this week. 311 coming along with Bad Flower. They're going to be at the Amphitheater in Pokey as well. That's going down on is it the 15th, I think? Or maybe the 16th. I don't have my notes up in front of me. Hold on, I'll get my notes up in front of me. See? I told you, I'm beating up on myself for a reason today. I'm failing. I don't even have the date for a show in front of me. And I should have it memorized, but I can't remember things. The show's going down on the 16th. So that would be a Saturday at the Port of Hell Trust Amphitheater. I'm sure that's going to be a fun show, and nothing beats going for free. So if you want to go for free, listen for us to give you the cue to call, and then be the right caller number and win. If you don't win, buy your tickets, because it's going to be fun. It's a Saturday, August 16th, 311 Bad Flower, and sitting on Saturn. So, yeah, we're heading into the good time of year when we've got lots of big shows coming our way. And we even have small shows. Like, maybe you want to go see some free live music tonight. Well, get out to the River Concert Series with the Idaho Falls Arts Council. Happens every Tuesday through late August. That Greenbelt stage in Idaho Falls. between D&E Streets on Memorial Drive, out where they do the farmers market. Kicks off at 7 o'clock. It's a free show. Tonight they got some country and southern rock with County Line playing. And then next Tuesday, our friends, the Upscometrists. If you want to get out and, do that ska dance. What do they call it? It's the ska dance. They're always fun. So anyway, lots of different events happening. Busy time of year. Make the most of it. Have some fun. And if you see me out and about, come say hello. Because I'm always glad to see the K-Bear Rock Army and know who's listening. I just wish that this next band would come our way. I mean, Baby Metal was in Salt Lake a few days ago. I was unable to go, but I'm talking about, I want to see Electric Callboy again. Here we go. Ra-ta-ta-ta. Has there ever been a celebrity as apparently beloved as Ozzy? I'm seeing like country artists doing Ozzy tributes, pop artists doing Ozzy tributes. Everybody just with the outpouring of love for Ozzy. It's been just great. All the clips from the Osbournes starting to float around. Been watching that show on Amazon Prime. It is so good. I forgot how funny it was. You got to check it out if you've never watched that show. Classic reality TV, and Ozzy is just the funniest guy ever. And, I've talked to people in radio who've met Ozzy. I never got to meet him. One of the stars I always wanted to meet. And unfortunately, was never able to, but everyone always told me he was just the best guy ever. You can see it in the way he treats his fans. Take some pages out of Ozzy's life playbook. I think I'd avoid the crazy end, the insane amounts of drugs and alcohol. Don't go that route, but the how he treated people and just laughing and being funny and just being a good dude, Anyway, R.I.P. to Ozzy. And in other news, R.I.P. to this woman's house. Jeez. People get kind of crazy when it comes to relationships. Sometimes people get all butthurt when, their former significant other moves on to somebody else, so they start being just stupid and crazy. Well, sometimes they take it too far. Like maybe taking a heavy loader and knocking their house down. Yeah, that's taking it a little bit far. I think, if you're upset about something relating to a relationship, go talk to a counselor. There are people who can help you so you don't lash out and do something stupid that could get you in trouble. I guarantee if you take and knock down somebody's house and smash their car up, you're going to end up in jail. That's what's going to happen. This was, not surprisingly, in Florida. Yeah, angry message scrawled on the side of a house. You blanked with the wrong girl. You can guess what word it is. I'm not allowed to say it on the radio. We'll just, we can edit it. You messed with the wrong girl. So that's pretty much like signing your name to the damage. Yeah, she straight up just mowed right through this woman's house and then also her vehicle. And then the authorities were concerned because they hadn't seen the owner of the home, this woman, but they did end up finding her later on. She was thankfully just gone that night, that her home was destroyed. But at the end of the article, it says no one's been charged in connection to the incident. It shouldn't be very hard to figure it out, right? I guarantee this wasn't the first angry message she left. People don't just usually immediately jump to, getting a heavy loader and just smashing through someone's house. Usually they're lashing out via text or email or something first, some angry phone calls. Again, if you're upset, if you're angry, and you feel like you're going to lash out, hold back for a bit. Don't just immediately gut react, and call a friend. Call a friend, somebody to talk to, or go find a therapist. therapy is good. I talked today about how I've been dealing with, some mental frustrations, having a rough time. I'm beating up on myself on air. Even listeners are calling me like, stop being so mean to yourself. Well, maybe I need to go in and talk to my counselor a little bit. Who knows? It's okay. It's okay to get a little bit of help. I think there are still phone numbers you can call. I've seen a few articles recently about certain phone numbers getting shut down because, rather than just charge the ultra rich, a fair tax rate, let's eliminate services that could help people. But that's the government for you. So call a friend. Call a friend. There are counselors out there who could get you in, on a sliding scale. There's help out there, people. There's help. Don't get into, a tractor and start ripping things down. Settle down a little bit. Be a rational human being. Okay? It's all right. Okay. Well, let's see if I can find one more story for the show. And then I can feel satisfied with this program for today. Oh, I got to figure out what I'm going to do during the noon hour of madness and mayhem as well, because Peaches ain't here. Forgot about it till about 9. I'm like, where's Peaches? He hasn't barged in here and told me something crazy. Peaches going to a show in Salt Lake. So, yeah, I'll have to find a co-host. Maybe I'll bring in Josh Tyler or something like that, or maybe I'll just take your calls and you can ask me random questions. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I got a couple hours till I got to worry about that. Thank you again for tuning in to the Viktor Wilt Show. This program is a production of Riverbend Media Group. To contact the show or for more information, hit us up at riverbendmediagroup.com.